Just a little follow-up here. I went back into this project, horrible project, try to find out why that thing was not working. And what I found was that the code was written in such a way that it only worked up to version 2.3 of ID3. Although it's listed, for some reason, the version 2.4 is listed as a valid version. As far as the frames and fields and whatnot, what are the versions? It only would accept up to version 3. Yeah. Let's see now. The function where I found that was called in scope. My current project. ID3 left. This function checks if the current, well, what they call the frame definition is, just show you the definition. To be fairly quick, there are three things I had to fix. One, my printout was actually not incorrect. It would have shown that tag there, except for a typo type bug. If I control tab enough and get to the file, I know what it looks like. It's just a big bunch of data. Maybe not. It's not something I had to change. Here, it's gotta be this file. Yeah, okay. Now, those text field strings or whatever, like the artist and so on, are in there. They're in the list. And for instance, the first one that comes up, these are the identifiers, is T album. Anything starting with T is a text field. And if you read this, the way you read this table is this gives the layout of a field of the type indicated in this segment of the table. So there's going to be, check this macro, ID3 FD underscore name, right? So there's something underscore text. And here's the definition of the text field. It has field definition. It has two segments. One is an encoding segment, a single byte. This one here means that the length of the first part of it is 1, and it indicates text encoding. And now these things are not in the file itself, but defined in this program. And that is, this tells this program that this element of this field is valid from the earliest known version of the lib to the latest known version, which initially here had a 3, so I changed that to a 4. So that took care of the first problem, in that running the info program is here, printing out the fields, or most of them anyway. Everything but the last one got printed out. So I'll run this program with main. Main goes to this print information, and it printed everything out except the last field, which was the picture. So can I run up to here? I could run up to here if I set this as the active. Now this box was still incorrect, right? For a dumb reason, and it started printing all this out correctly. So these were correctly formatted text fields. Now this one says unimplemented, and that means that the program has no implementation for decoding a recording time field, but it can still show you what the data is. It happens to be 5 bytes worth of data, and you might guess, take a wild guess as to what the meaning of the data is. Okay. Now there's this is working now, but previously this frame 7 was just being considered unknown junk, right? But still, that's no problem. It's still locating the offset of the audio data, and so there was no. In theory, the program was still doing what it's supposed to do. It located the audio data and it determined there was a version 2 tag. It didn't show it. This number is the same as before. It should be. And the reason it wasn't showing the tag was a typo. Where's one of the files I changed? This is one of the things I did change. Here. This said if layout has v1 tag, right? But clearly that's what was intended was v2, right? So this is all v2 stuff. There's version 1 and version 2 type tags, and this was a typo. Because later on, you see down at the end here, has v1 tag, right? Which always comes at the end. And I must have copied and pasted that and just didn't change the 1 to a 2. So that fixed that problem. The only remaining problem was the picture. And that I knew by having spent a long time slowly reading through the documentation about this version 4, which there was seemingly no support for in here, but it is mostly supported. And I copied, unfortunately, the documentation, not in a single place, but where things came up. Where is it? I just want to show you what gave me the hint. Documents. There are some things that I can't find any documentation for. Okay, now, as far as parsing goes, 2.2 is the oldest version known. 2.3 is the version that was always coming up with pretty much everything. And 2.4, finally, I run into one with a picture. Now, one of the things that's different about these things, and I don't know if it's in this note, You see, and I was even working this out by hand. I don't know if there's a history of what I was doing up here somewhere. Oh, yeah, it should be in here somewhere. You should see me struggling to try and figure out why this number is coming, why a number is coming out wrong. I wasn't getting a picture. Where is it? Well, in any case, I had written it out even in binary. This number, see, this is where finally the picture came out. It must have got cleared away. Although this happened a long time ago, a little longer ago. Okay, CC. Oh, I guess I scratched it out. You see this number 6636? Now, that's a hex number that appears for the size field of the picture element, right? And then I worked this out using a different method, which I suspected is the method being used for version 2.4. And the reason I've suspected that is, you see this. Now this is typical for either one, version 3 or version 4, something called a int28 number, okay? Now that's just for the header, but for the internal data, inside the header, after the header, okay. Extended header size stored as sync safe integer. Now remember I talked about this unsynchronization and so on. That's why they use this thing called int28. A 28-bit integer stored in 4 bytes, and you ignore the first bit of every byte. And that way you can never get 11 bits in a row. So those are numbers that are synchronization safe. Okay, you don't really need them in this case, but I suspected at version 4 they changed everything to use these sync safe integers because if I could find the version 3 comment. Okay, here's version 3. See, I have these int3s here in case I ever run into these things. See, now the reason why they use sync safe integers is to avoid having to unsync certain things. But somewhere in here anyway, here. See, now this read, BE stands for big endian, okay? So a number that doesn't have its bytes reversed. So it's a big end first. You read it from a number from left to right. That's true of the sync safe numbers as well, but these ones can be all F's, for instance. Now, you can see that in this 230, there's a heavy use of this read big endian number. And then we get into version 2.4, we don't see any more read big endian number. Everything is in sync safe integer format. Okay, big endian, but in 28 bits. So I suspected that that number, that size value, which caused him the failure to identify the contents of the picture element, size, is because the size turned out to be too big. It was too big because it's version 2.4, and version 2.4 uses big endian number. Uses sync safe numbers everywhere. Everything's a sync safe, which is just good because it's all standard. So I worked it out, and I checked in the actual binary, which is also in here somewhere, and I added it all up, and it worked out perfectly from here. Add this number, and it leaves you right at the end of it where the zeros start, wherever the zeros start. Then there's padding. Anyway, you work it out, and it leaves you like here, right? Exactly. I thought that was too much of a coincidence, so I went and I changed the code. Probably where another check mark would be here. And I left a little comment. As of version, which is now ID3 version 2.4.0, all numbers are represented as 32-bit sync-safe integers. So data size, if it's version 2.4.0, I use the int28. Okay, that just means, again, we drop 4 bits. The top bit of every byte in the number is ignored and glue the remaining bits together to build a number, otherwise not. I did that, and everything all added up, and we got the correct output. ID3 foe, the wind. Okay, now it's correct. Here's the picture, and here's its size. And to verify that that's correct, this here, there's a get pic thing, which extracts a picture from a MP3 file or any type of file, ID3 file, and I compiled this and I ran it with that MP3 going to pjpic.jpg. And here's the picture I got. Now at first I thought, no, that's a little strange. That's not the picture that I'm supposed to get, but it is a picture. It looks wrong though. So then I tried Winamp, and now I've realized that I wiped out a whole bunch of interesting pictures. I gotta go and get the new thing back. Open with, not that one. Open with Winamp. I'd like to, now I gotta run this thing and at least extract all the pictures and see if there's anything interesting to look at. Winamp comes up, as you can probably guess, with exactly the same picture. See? There it is. So, there's nothing wrong with these files. Problems with Windows. The reason this picture works is because this is a version 2.3 tag. So for the same reasons, this modern operating system is unaware of the latest goings on with ID3 and is unable to parse this, even get the the artist name or anything. These ones are in the same format as the version 2. So the reason this is unable to retrieve, version 2.3, the reason this program Explorer is unable to obtain that information is because it knows that it is not supporting the version, any versions greater than 2.3 of ID3. Because the format's identical. All I did was change the rule to include version 2.4, and all the information came out, except the picture, which I took a wild guess, which was not such a wild guess, because I vaguely remember, and there's a second hint, two hints in one in the file and two in the documentation, that they just switched everything to sync to these so-called sync-safe numbers, and put an end to things being of different type. Different ways to store numbers. Just choose one way and stick with it for simplicity. 2.4 is a kind of a cleanup version. They cleaned everything up in version 2.4. So now that works, and extracting the pictures from the MP3s works, and I've thrown away all the pictures that I might have looked at before. And but here's one of them. If you want to see another one, I should turn this into a little program that we can use. Let's see now. I'm getting this from. It is a program we can use, because this here is. I'm not getting the name of the picture or anything, just making it up, right? But here I just give, it just takes two strings, source and dest, on the command line. So let's take this program, the resulting program, which is in here, get pick. Put that in here. Get ID3 pick. How about that? ID3 get pick. Alright. Now I take another one of those songs that these pictures I've been throwing away. Let's see if maybe we'll find something interesting. How about this? Bows and arrows. ID3 get pick. Bows and arrows. Bows and arrows. JPEG. And there's the picture that I've been, one of the pictures I've been throwing away. So time to stop throwing away the pictures and to salvage whatever I've got left, or just read down the whole thing again. And what I could do, and maybe what might save me here, and saving having to do what I'm doing, is to go into here, and don't use the internal MP3 decoder, which I know doesn't understand that version. Maybe switch audio and decoder to one of these other ones, and see how it goes without using the system default. We can see it doesn't work properly, if that would ever come up. Okay, anyway, just a little update. So I let you know that I've found that there's nothing wrong with these files. The problem has to do with the system. Surprise, surprise, the problem has nothing to do with the data that I'm working with. I don't have any viruses. The virus, in this case, once again, turns out to be the Microsoft built-in MP3 decoding software. See ya.